All right. This is Dr. Campbell. And so today I want to talk about why is a marriage license important? The attack on godly marriages continues with a new assault on the need for marriage licenses. Local state legislators in Alabama are considering supporting alternatives that will eliminate the need for such documentation. A marriage license is important to ensure that the original tenets and the requirements are not violated. Before the Supreme Court's decision of Obergefell versus Hodges in 2015, which held that the United States Constitution requires every state to recognize and license same-sex marriage, the legal status of same-sex marriage in Alabama has been the subject of a long legal battle. Federal court ordered two cases took effect in February 2015, and 47 of the state's 67 counties began issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples that day or shortly thereafter, despite an order from the Alabama Supreme Court Chief Justice Roy Moore not to do so. The other counties either issued license only to opposite-sex couples or stopped issuing marriages license altogether. On March 3rd, 2015, the Alabama Supreme Court, ruling in a different case, ordered the state's probate judges to stop issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples, and they promptly complied, though a number of them refused to issue any marriage licenses at all. The bigger challenge is that the term marriage originates in the Bible and is not a tenet of the United States Constitution. The word marriage first appears in the King James Version of Exodus 21:10, and it goes as follows. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage, shall he not diminish? The book of Exodus is the second book of the Torah, the Hebrew Bible, and the Old Testament immediately following Genesis. Exodus is traditionally ascribed to Moses himself. Modern scholarship sees the book as initially a product of the Babylonian exile, 6th century BCE, from earlier written and oral traditions, with final revisions in the Persian post-Exilic period. You see, the term marriage was instituted centuries before any other term that refers to marriage. Now, according to the Holy Bible, we find that marriage is between a man and a woman. We find the first example of marriage in the book of Genesis between Adam and Eve, between a man and a woman. The Supreme Court has attempted to take a holy term and to fit it in a union between same sexes. Now, you can't mix the two, and so that's the challenge. A marriage license is designed to keep the holiness of the doctrine of marriage intact. A marriage license is a document issued either by a church or state authority authorizing a couple to marry. Now, in biblical times, marriage served to increase monetary gain as well as reproduce an heir. One example of the custom, which centers on the production of an heir, appears in Genesis 38. In Genesis chapter 38, Tamar is the first described as marrying Judah's eldest son, Er. Because of his wickedness, he was killed by God. By way of a Levirate union, Judah asked his second son, Onan, to provide offspring for Tamar so that the family line might continue. Onan performed coitus interruptus. His actions were deemed wicked by God, So in other words, he put his seed on the ground instead of trying to impregnate her. His actions were deemed wicked by God, and so, like his older brother, he died prematurely. At this point, Judah is portrayed as viewing Tamar to be cursed, and therefore as being reluctant to give her his remaining and youngest son, Shelah. Rather, he tells Tamar to wait for Shelah. However, even after Shelah has grown up, Judah still does not give Tamar to him in marriage. And we find this is in Genesis 38, 6 through 14. Eventually, Tamar birthed a son from Judah. And there's a whole story behind that. Marriage license ensures that the tenets set forth by God remain intact. It positions the couples to at least obtain favor for attempting to follow God's original instruction to reproduce an heir. Without a marriage license, couples are not required to remain committed to God's purpose for marriage. This is Dr. Campbell. You can get additional information on our website at www.advancedmarriagetraining.com. And of course, if you want to talk about it, you can call me on my direct line, 856-566-3267. Have a great day, and thank you very much.